Well, it was like the return of the prodigal son with Tony Lockett, and how exciting for a full forward. And he's a great big mountain of a man, and to kick 12 goals in his return, just magnificent. And Nicky Winmar, that St Kilda side are a very, very good side. And I said the week before, if those two had played against Carlton, they could have won that game. And the excitement down Moorabbin, it's got a special feeling down at that ground. The supporters are magnificent down there.
And Suave, Kelvin Moore. Suave, did you ever stand Tony Lockett?
I did stand Tony Lockett once, and he's one of his first games, I think. I was fairly fortunate in that respect.
Give him a biff behind the ear?
Yes, I'd muck around. He was only a kid, so I biffed him, but I certainly wouldn't go near him now.
I'll tell you what, Danny Hughes doesn't want to go near him now. What about that, Peter?
Well, I felt sorry for Danny Hughes. Amazing that Lockett was having a shot for goal, and poor old Danny, before he'd even taken the kick, was dragged off the ground by Graham Corns and had to go right past all those one-eyed St Kilda supporters, the one-eyed stand, and I really felt for him, and so did all the St Kilda people.
And what about the Lockett bump on him a minute earlier?
Well, what about that one? Tony went past the ball and ran through Danny Hughes, a bit of a cut above the eye, but the great thing about Lockett is he's the only full forward ever, really, who intimidates his opponents with his size and strength, and well, it must be a daunting task to play on him. He is an exciting player.
What you're saying is that you didn't terrorise very many fullbacks.
Well, I don't care. This bloke's about the only one.
Doug Wade, maybe, never you.
Well, that side, but my votes, I gave one vote to a very, very underrated player. Back into the side, David Grant on the half-back line. 2 votes. This man is in sensational form. I tell you what, he's getting the Hawthorn side at the moment. Russell Morris took 15 or 16 marks yesterday. And Tony Lockett, any full forward that kicks 12 goals, well, he is just intimidating up there, and he is a great player.
Now, you made the statement yesterday, he's the best full forward you've seen. Do you stick by that?
I said that a year ago, and I'll say it again, he is the best full forward. I've seen him down there at Moorabbin win games off his own boot. I think he's got everything.
I saw him kick 12 goals in the losing side a couple of years back against Melbourne. Now, how many, on that day, he got fed very well. Now, how many passes to a lead, unstoppable passes did he get yesterday?
I would say, excuse me, Ron, I would say he would have kicked 6 from direct passes, 2 or 3 from very, very strong marks, and a couple of free kicks.
So why didn't you give Morris best on the ground with 18 marks at centre-half forward?
Because a full forward who has 18 kicks and takes about 13 or 14 marks and kicks 12 goals, in my book, it's a very tough thing to do.
You still have to put yourself in that position to get those easy, or what look easy passes.
Listen,
other players
the full forward
can't get a kick.
It's all right to turn around and say, right throughout my career, I had to put up with people saying that you wouldn't have kicked any goals but for Barry Price. But then again, you have to get in the position to receive, don't you?
No, I just noticed most of the other experts, and we're all so-called experts, gave Morris BOG.
Are you alluding to the fact that I might be favouring the full forward?
I think that
is that what you're saying?
There, Peter.
He's curling the lip too, Pete. Be careful.
But they are a very, very good football side, and I've got no doubt they would have beaten Carlton the week before if Lockett, Winmar and Grant had played.
What about the second half with Tony Lockett? He had 9 up to half-time.
Well, I thought at half-time, I really thought Fred Fanning's 18 goals would be beaten. I really did, and the second half I thought they'd go mad and feed Lockett, but they didn't. They had plenty of shots when he was on the lead and 10 metres clear, and they had shots from 40 metres and ignored Lockett. So, and also he ran out of a bit of puff. He was huffing and puffing.
That's the question. Was it wise to keep him on? Both him and Winmar, could they eased him off a bit?
No. Keep him on and get a bit of match fitness into him because he's been out for a long time.
There's no danger of him being tired and injuring himself when he's tired.
No, I don't think so, Bob. I think he needs a damn good hit out under his belt. He needs a couple more games. He'll only get better.
Well, Pete, talking about full forward, Scott Hodges came back yesterday. Anything happened there?
Well,
he didn't get a kick.
Well, I
no kicks.
He did not touch the ball.
Was the ball getting down there, Pete, though? Yeah, but how did he play?
The ball got there. How did he play? I reckon if I was coming back from a layoff and from a knee injury, the last man I'd ever want to play on is Danny Frawley. He is mean and tough and nasty and a great player, Danny Frawley. He's a very underrated player, but Hodges didn't have a kick, didn't have a handball, and had 2 scoops off the ground.
Did he look fragile?
Oh, he didn't look anything, Bob. He honestly didn't look anything.
The ball wasn't down there that much, but I want to say one thing about the Adelaide Crows. I think it was the most insipid performance I've seen from a football side in many, many years. The first quarter, when the game was to be won, I've never seen a side get the ball out of the centre so easily as what St Kilda did, and it was all due to a lack of effort by the Adelaide Crows.
Night specialists, Pete.
They were terrible. They're a South Australian specialist.
What about that
Come
thing?
on, Peter, what do you mean by that?
Well, they're no good over here.
Oh, rubbish.
How many games are they going to win in
Give
Melbourne?
them a chance.
Well, what do you... Now, come on, Bruce, what do you think of that?
I thought they were very disappointing. I thought they were tentative and overawed and
Exactly what I'm saying. They were
and
awful.
intimidated.
What about the Hughes
Absolutely
situation? You touched on that before when we started the program.
Which
Hughes
one?
taken off
Should
the
Lockett have
ground.
been reported?
Well, no, I'm talking about Hughes coming off the ground, but that's an interesting one you raised there too.
Well, I mentioned that earlier that Lockett had, I think it was a free kick or a mark at the time. It was a mark, actually, and he went back to take his kick. And as he was going back to take his kick, Danny Hughes was dragged, didn't man the mark, was dragged off the ground by Graham Corns and had to run right past that one-eyed St Kilda section of the ground.
Who was on the mark?
Well, I don't know who was on the mark. That's immaterial, but...
It's also immaterial the fact that he has to go past the St Kilda supporters. I mean, any player that's been taken off has to go past
I thought it was a belittling act on Danny Hughes as a great character.
And if they'd made up their mind to make the change, why wouldn't the runner use his nous on the boundary and just delay it a little bit and not humiliate the man?
It was
well, it should be the
It
runner.
looked terrible, Bruce.
There was a film that Art Funkel was in years ago called Bad Timing. I think
It was bad timing.
Yeah.